Guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It is the latest of our video calls. We've been chatting to everybody while we're all kind of stuck at home at the minute, and I'm delighted to say from Gojira, we've got Joe on the line. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad, surviving. And we've started all these in exactly the same way, which is to say, hope you, bandmates, loved ones, all that, all keeping safe and well throughout these very, very strange 12 months. And just before we kind of get into music and everything, how have you been finding this time, man? I guess like most people, you guys are used to being on the road a lot of the time. This must be the longest you've spent at home in quite a while, right?
Yeah. We're always on the road, you know, and if we're not on the road, we're recovering from the road to a point where, you know, there was a point in my life where I was wondering, where is this going? I'm going to go insane if I don't take a break. But you know how it is. We always wait for the, you know, the perfect moment to all take a break. Let's take 6 months off the road and without being in a studio and maybe do something with our families or whatever. And never happened, because there's always this crazy good opportunity, or we feel things are going well, or we just released an album, so we have to get back on the road and so on. So, you know, as I said already to many people, because I'm doing so many interviews these days, but there's this thing, and I'm telling, and this is true. It's the only thing that could stop me from going on tour would be a global pandemic or something. And it freaking happened. Forced to stay home. But, you know, in a way, I'm very thankful for that. Selfishly, because I know it's been difficult for so many people around the world, but for all the musicians that, you know, that hear that, they will probably understand, the touring musicians that have kids, that, you know, it's pretty heartbreaking to leave home for 6 weeks and say goodbye to the kids. So they were pretty happy to have daddy home for one summer, and now a second summer on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at the silver linings, haven't you? You've got to always take away the positives from any madness like this. I'm glad to hear there's been a few for you for sure. And then, of course, you know, it hasn't slowed you guys down. The music is coming out. It's finally here. The album is kind of imminent at the time of recording. It's coming very, very soon. And I want to start with that single that's just dropped to the time of recording, which is Into the Storm. Because even in the little quotes I've seen you doing in the press release and stuff, sounds like this one is a particular favorite of yours on the record, maybe the favorite, right? Talk to me a little bit about why that one's stuck with you in particular.
It has a little bit of everything, you know. It's catchy. There's a little bit of honey in there, a little bit of mustard. There's a little bit of
I like that as a terminology for a description. There is a little bit of honey and a little bit of mustard in there.
Yeah, a little bit of salt and pepper. Yeah, we're always trying to find, you know, a good combination between excitement and you know, melody and technical parts. This one came along around, you know, around half of the writing of the album. We had a bunch of melodic parts, and we have this song that is a straight up rock song called The Chant that we're working on for a while, and having a lot of fun, honestly, to step out of our comfort zone and do other things and you know, experiment. And one morning Mario came in the studio and said, dude, we need a part that goes, and he did this thing, you know, with a double kick. And I know this is going to happen at some point when we make an album. Mario's going to come up, you know, with a challenging drum part. So yeah, that's what he does. I think this song is a beautiful example of what Mario can do. The big challenge for that song was to find a chorus that sometimes a song flows and everything, you know, comes out in one day. Another World was like that, the first single that we released. And lyric wise, you know, Into the Storm, it really represents pretty much what this album is about, you know. It's about, you know, being alive, being on your toes, and look around you and see what happens in the world, and see and check yourself, you know. are you aligned with your beliefs? Are you aligned with your convictions or what's in your heart? You know, are you acting accordingly to how you feel and what you think? You know, maybe an invitation to people to get out there and do what's right, whatever this is. You know, it could be a change in your life, it could be your career, it could be, you know, if you love animals and you always wanted to work in an animal shelter, but instead you're working in a bank and it's killing you, but you think you need that money to pay for your apartment, maybe change and take a cheaper apartment and go work in this animal shelter. You know, just a random example. You know.
Yeah, no, it's funny, isn't it? How that it's something I've talked about with so many musicians over the last year. It's how albums and their themes end up almost inadvertently reflecting the strange times we're living in. Not to bang on about it, but like, yeah, that is something that's been on everyone's mind. I mean, I know friends both within music industry or outside of it who have suddenly wanted to change careers. They've made big life choices. They wanted to change. Obviously, we've seen what's been happening in the world over the last year, and people wanting to stand up for what they believe in that respect too. It's just funny, isn't it? Like, when did you guys actually write that particular song? And I guess the bulk of this album, was it something you were looking out in the world around you, or these topics you wanted to address anyway?
These are both things, but it was all done before the pandemic,
right?
You know, so it was something in the works, you know. Anyway, this pandemic, it was going to happen. You know, the way we live is not sustainable. You know, definitely not sustainable. We often hear the sentence that there's too many people on the planet. You know, 7 billion people, what are you going to do? Well, 7 billion people, if you put them side by side, it's the size of Los Angeles. If we would all stand in a herd, all next to each other, we would cover the surface of greater LA, you know, which is not that much space when you think about it. There is enough space on the planet for all the humans. The problem is the way we consume, is you know, we all need to be a little closer to the land. And if we're not farmers and if we can't grow stuff, at least we can buy from sustainable sources, you know. But there's got to be such a huge shift in humanity. There's got to be a big change to achieve that sustainable system. But I see little things here and there, you know, little groups, little communities, people thinking, people, you know, adapting. Children's education is changing too, you know. And you're right, the pandemic was sort of a wake-up call to a lot of people. Wait a second, this looks like the end of the world I saw in that movie. You know, what am I doing with my life, by the way? Oh, right, I'm still stuck in that job that I said I would quit 10 years ago, but I'm still in there. Maybe it's time to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of that is happening right now, and it's for the better, you know. I think, yeah, change is good. Change is good. If you're stuck into something, you should change it. Unless you're stuck into something that you love dearly, then.
I want to talk about the album title. This is a question I ask everybody, and people will be sick of me asking it by now. But honestly, I am always fascinated by what sums up a record for people, why they put out that kind of mission statement. And Fortitude's a pretty strong statement, man, and definitely speaks to everything we've just been talking about there. You know, people showing a sense of fortitude as they move forward with their lives in whatever way that makes sense for them, you know. Talk to me a little bit about why you thought that summed up this new collection of songs for the band.
It was not based on thoughts, really. I even had a hard time justifying this title with my thoughts, with my intellect. It was rather an intuition and something that came up like that, you know. And my brother and I talk a lot about, you know, the direction, the general artistic direction, or even though he's not writing the lyrics per se, you know, it's my task, but we like to communicate on that, and not just with Mario, with the other two guys too, you know. We did some shows while we were writing. Our last show was November 2019, where we're almost done with writing the songs, and we knew that we wanted to express something about, you know, that has to see with the notion of strength. But I even thought, oh, we should call the album Strength, but it doesn't really.
Nice and on the nose there. Yeah, very to the point.
Yeah. No, not cool. So how about Fortitude? Oh, and that's the story, man.
It works. It works.
Yeah, and I liked that, you know, Fortitude is also a French word. It starts with F-O-R-T, fort, you know, strong. So the strength part is in there when you look at it from a French perspective. Fort. And Fortitude is really, you know, strength in adversity or in difficult times, the ability to go the distance and overcome things. And I liked that. I thought it was good because we're facing a huge challenge. It's not about COVID. It's not about the virus. The virus is just one aspect of it. It's about where the hell are we going? What the hell are we doing? You know, and we need to be strong, and we need to face things. You know, we need to look at factory farms, for example. We need to look at that. You know, a friend of mine told me to look at that a long time ago. Corey said, "Dude, look at how animals are treated." And at first I remember I did this. I'm like, I don't want to see it. You know, I just want to keep going with my life and be comfortable and happy. Just leave me alone, you know? And then one day I just looked at it and I became vegan. And to me, this is one example. I'm not saying vegan is the answer, even though I am saying that. If you want to, you know, help the Amazon, if you want to stand on the right side of history and stop promoting cruelty and torture and rape, go vegan.
I mean, I've got to say, I do really admire the fact that you guys have used the position you're in to really promote the causes that are very, very close to you. I mean, I saw, what was it, over 120 grand raised from that previous fundraising single. I mean, that's incredible work, man. Yeah. Congratulations on that. That's something to be really, really proud of. And it continues. I see there's the auction going on and all this stuff. I mean, it's great to see that kind of direct response. It's all well and good to, you know, promote causes, and that's a good thing, and obviously raise awareness and all that kind of stuff, but actually putting your money where your mouth is, that's a whole different level, right? It's very, very cool to see you do that.
It's very rewarding too, I have to say. You know, there's nothing, there's not a part that sucks in there, just the work that we put in at first, but giving time, giving energy for a good cause and seeing result is absolutely amazing and very rewarding. And that's another thing I want to tell people. And we were talking about Into the Storm. When you throw yourself out there, even though it's a bit impressive, it's dangerous, but it's also very, very rewarding. The minute you make a decision for your life to change something, you get results immediately. And coincidences happen too, you know, and you say, oh, you know, you lose your apartment, but there's a great opportunity that comes back to you, like with a bigger apartment, for example. You know what I mean? Like unexpected things, or maybe somebody's lonely, in a shitty apartment, working for a horrible job, and the day he quits his job, he finds a better place to live and meets the love of his life. You know, who knows? You know what I mean? I think things are connected too. If you make the right decisions for yourself, you're going to invite success and love and abundance.
Yeah, finding the right path for yourself. It's an interesting theory, man. But yeah, definitely connected. If you're putting out positivity, you're going to get some positivity back. Because maybe that sounds a bit, I don't know, hippie, but I like it. It's a good theory.
It's true.
It's true. I think it's very true. I stand by that, man. I absolutely do. Let's talk a little bit more about, I mean, I suppose you've already said there that the record was ready for a while. I know obviously releases got delayed because everyone's releases got delayed. It's the nature of the world at the minute. But I've found with a lot of people in that kind of gap where they have more time to play with and there's no live shows, start thinking about more new music. Have you guys fell into that camp as well? Even before this record's about to come out, have you already started thinking about what might follow that? What kind of ideas might formulate there?
What do you mean to replace touring?
No, not necessarily to replace touring. I'm talking about more new music. I've found some bands have just kept writing. They're like, well, that album's delayed. Let's write another album. Have you guys thought about writing more new music in that way?
Yeah. Of course, we for a minute there, we thought, okay, we can't release this album. We're gonna just wait for months. Let's write new music. But in fact, I underestimated the work there was to put in around the release of this album. And even though Mario recorded a bunch of drum patterns and he kept sending me stuff, but I was actually busy doing the cover, drawing the cover of the album. Which, you know, the pandemic gave me that opportunity to concentrate for 2 months just on that, which was amazing. And also, you know, when you work on an artwork like that, there's all the little things on the sides for teasing and all that. So all the logos and the little visuals, so I got very productive and very inspired during that time because I could really focus and concentrate on that. That was amazing. And then we concentrated on our videos, our charity, and so really we spread that thing on over a year. Also, the way we released several singles like that, usually we would release 2 and then drop the album. Here we have to make the best out of this situation. We can't go out on the road, so we better press the juice of that album to the maximum. and you know what I mean, spread it over time and create a momentum that is more adapted to our times, because usually we would just go straight to the point, release the album, be on the road and so on, but we can't go on the road, so we're dragging a little, you know. We're releasing 4 singles, which is ridiculous a little bit.
Nice to keep the fans going, though. Nice to keep giving them a little taste here and there, right?
You know, it gives more importance to every song that is dropped, even though it's a bit of a heartbreak for me because I like people to experience the whole album as well. Yeah.
No, I can understand that, but as long as they get a little of that honey and mustard thrown at them, then
exactly,
that's what we like. That's what we like to hear, dude. You know, and speaking of touring, you know, we're getting hopeful. I'm a lot more optimistic than I was even a few months ago. It seems like perhaps towards the end of this year, I don't want to jinx anything, but we might see live music in some way, shape, or form. As with everyone else who's had a record to play with for a while, you must be just not only desperate to get out there and play some shows for the guys, but you must have those moments on this new record where you're like, oh, that is going to go off. That's going to sound absolutely incredible. Can't wait to get that one out there. What are the moments on the record that you're particularly hyped for to get in front of the crowd?
You know, I think it's an album that's going to work really good live. I don't see one song on this album that we couldn't, you know, perform live. There's one actually, the Trails is towards the end of the album. It's a bit intricate, you know, how the way we play and we jump from one string to another. The singing is also very ambitious and stuff. So this one might not happen live, but the rest of the album really is completely doable. It's more stripped down than before, and there's more vocals also happening, so it's more challenging for me, but really looking forward. We had a few sessions not too long ago for for a thingy we had to record for radio, and we jammed 4 of the songs on the album. It felt so good to get together in a studio and jam, and I was wondering how's it going to go down because it's been a while, and when you put songs together on an album, and you know, it's instrument by instruments, and then at the end I put the vocals, I work on the lyrics, and then next thing you know, we even forget how to play the freaking songs. But we worked and we played, and it happened. I felt that thing that we call Gojira, you know, happening, and it felt so good, you know. So especially since these rehearsals that happened a month ago, I'm pretty excited to go back on the road and play these songs live.
How quickly did it come back to you? Did it take a little minute in the rehearsals, or was it straight back in, like, oh yeah, we all remember how to do this, off we go?
You know, I think if the hardest part is to get the sound right and to get, you know, all the monitors and the technical aspects, and then, you know, it's starting to work, and then you press on your pedal and something goes off, like a huge problem. So you stop playing, you're like, damn it, it was gonna be great. can we fix that? And then we spend time fixing it. Also, we can't have our crew with us because everybody's stranded left and right. So we'll have to ask friends to help or do a lot of it ourselves. So it takes a minute to, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And this is how it works. And it's not easy because we have to also, we don't have our studio where we usually work. So all of that is the problem. But once everything is rolling, boom, we're on. Been doing this since I'm a kid. Are you kidding me?
It's always going to come back pretty quick, isn't it? It's always going to lock back in, man. That doesn't leave you at all. I'll leave you with that, though, man. I mean, it's just so nice to talk to you. Congratulations on the new music. Congratulations on what you guys are doing in the world as well. Genuinely, I really admire what you guys have been doing over the last year or so with that. And yeah, just take care of yourself and look forward to chatting to you guys when you are able to make it to the UK. I really hope it's going to be sooner rather than later for some live shows. But in the meantime, yeah, take care of yourself, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. All right, Joe.